Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Anson Clark, and today I will be showing you how to play your violin with guitar and ukulele styled playing. So first off, I will be teaching you how to hold the instrument and how to strum it in this playing position. And then I will go over and show you some basic chord progressions for three major chords, which are D major, A major, G major, and back to A major. I will then teach you how to play those chords with some basic rhythm. So, for example, or some even more complex rhythms. And lastly, before we get started, I just want to mention that if you're a beginner violinist, this may be a little difficult for you because note placement can get tricky on the fingerboard and playing multiple strings with different chords. However, if you're an advanced violinist and are more familiar with your chords, then it could be more useful for you. So you can learn a new and different playing style. So basically, when I hold the instrument this way, it is comfortably just here, kind of in the crevice of my arm, and I kind of cradle it like a baby, necessarily. And you'll notice that my thumb kind of ends up here on the fingerboard, which you think was kind of weird because you may think you want to play it here. However, when I find that I'm playing chords like this, I find that the tone and the richness of it is better for the violin than it is up here. It sounds more nasally up here, so we want to play it down here. And also what I'm doing is, the way I'm strumming the instrument is I have my thumb just kind of go straight down, just like, right? You kind of want it to just grab all of the strings on its way down with gravity necessarily. Doesn't take a lot of effort. All right, so let's learn some basic chords. So we are going to start with our D major chord, and this placement of this chord is we have our first finger on the G string, which is an A. We have our second finger on the D string here, which is a F sharp. And then we have our third finger here on the A string, which is a D. And if we strum that, it'll sound like this. So now that we have our D chord learned, let's go over to an A major chord. So as you can tell, it looks very similar. And all that we're doing is we're literally lifting these two fingers from the D major chord up and to the A and E string, our second and third finger. Second finger's on the A string, and third finger's on the A string. However, now we have to note that the first finger is playing two strings instead of just the one, as if it were the D major. So we are now playing that A note on the first finger G string. We're playing first finger on the D string, which is an E, and then we combine the 2 and 3 on the A and E. So we have C sharp here, and we have our A note on the E string. And if we pluck that, it'll sound like this. And just as a quick side note, it is also important to understand that when you're playing a chord, to have good clarity, you want to make sure that your fingers are just on each string that it's supposed to be on. Because if your finger is accidentally touching another string, it can mute that note, so it doesn't give it full clarity. It's just like a guitar or any other instrument that uses chords or strumming or plucking. And the last chord we are going to be learning today is the good old G major chord. It's many violinists' first chord that they learn because it's quite simple to play. We have an open G, open D, and we have our first finger on the A string playing a B, and then we have our second finger on the E string playing a G. Alright, so now that we have all of those chords learned collectively, let's put them into a chord progression and play some actual music. So we'll start off with our D major chord. Then we'll play the A major chord, G major, back to A major, and then we'll go back to the D major chord. So let's play through that a couple of times without me talking through it, and that way you can kind of practice with it. Alright, so rock on guys, we're getting somewhere, right? So now to make our music even more interesting and the chords more interesting, we're going to now add some new rhythms to the strumming, and we're going to start adding some percussive fill and tones to the chord progressions by using our left hand. And you might think, how are we going to do that? But it's actually quite simple. You just start off slow and you speed it up, and it'll give you kind of the thing you're looking for. So first off, let's practice by doing a new strumming pattern. So instead of just strumming the straight chord, we're gonna go and while I'm doing this, I'm using, just so you know, I'm using the right side of my thumb and just kind of the skin part. I'm not necessarily like bending my thumb or anything or using the nail. It's the meat of the finger basically. So when I do a down strum, I strum down again, and then I go da da da. So down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. So it's just like guitar playing necessarily. And when we start implementing left techniques, left hand techniques to our with what our left hand is doing, it's just like guitar playing as well for that percussive noise. So let's practice this a few times. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Good. Okay, so now that we have that, we're gonna start doing something with our left hand that'll bring forth the percussive noise. So when we strum, so I'll play it for you so you can hear how it sounds, and then we'll imitate it with the lesson. So you may have seen that all I'm doing is I first strum down the chord that I'm playing with my fingers pressed down on the strings, and then when I do the da da da, I am simply just raising my fingers from the strings of playing that chord. I'm releasing the tension on the string, so basically my fingers are just lightly put on the string, so I'm basically muting the strings. So you get that. It's a muted percussive noise. So we have. So the notes I do want to play and have come out clear, I will press my left fingers down, kind of like that, you can tell, to be able to sound. Alright, perfect. So now let's try playing all of these chords with the playing style we just learned. So we'll play D major, A major, G major, A major, D major. So now we have built ourselves a very strong foundation on how to do this. So the way to get better at it is, of course, to practice slowly and speed it up. Because once you start speeding it up, it can sound more unique, more technical and difficult, which is cool. So if we play that same... just a little bit faster... you can make it more unique that way. Well guys, I think that's the last bit of information I can provide, because you are now your own musicians and you can be creative too. You don't always have to play the same chord progression. You could start on G major if you wanted to. You could start on A major. I'm sure you know this, but and you can also implement other rhythms too. So for example, just real quick, you could start on G major and just do something weird like that and enjoy it. But I totally appreciate you guys watching. I hope this was a helpful lesson, and I tried to make it super step by step. And if you have any constructive criticism, I would totally appreciate it if you left it in the comments below, because I am pretty new at making YouTube videos. And please leave a like and subscribe, and I totally appreciate you watching. Have a good one. Rock on.